Okay. So Yash, first of all, I was really fascinated by your personal story of success coming to the UK with £1,500 in your pocket and now running a top class law firm. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So I entered the UK in 2003 as a student, did some awkward jobs till 2006. Then I saw a gap in the market. My family friends, I was born and brought up in India, so community from India, were not getting right immigration advice and services at right price. There was a lot of challenges. You had to wait a lot, you had to pay a lot of money, and still you were not getting the right advice at the right time. So that was very frustrating for me, even from my own experience. So I thought, wow, this is a very interesting area to jump in. And then, very coincidentally, I started a law firm to help people to get right legal advice and services in 2008, from literally a back one of the corner of my bedroom from a rented property in Hounslow, with £30 of investment, with two chairs and one table from IKEA. And this is where we started the immigration law firm. And here we are in now 2021. We are a multi-award winning Legal 500 specialized solicitors firm in London, with 4,000 plus client and 1,000 plus reviews on Trustpilot and Google. So that's my story, Mike. Thank you for asking.
No, that's yeah, it's just a great example of the hustle and someone seeing you now and thinking, what an overnight success. And really that was 18 years of blood, sweat, and tears. And I love stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about AY and J and just kind of what makes you guys different. I have to say, from our point of view, we approached you. I love all the content you put out. It's really simple. It's really easy to understand. We have a lot of immigration advisors and law firms approach us, and I just think, do you know what? It's just you're no good. I don't want to put that in front of the people who trust us, but with you guys, I was so keen to hear from you and hear your thoughts. So tell us about what makes you guys different and what you're all about.
Sure. So the one point I would say is it's different from other law firms is to help our clients to achieve what they want, and go that extra mile to help them what they want to achieve. So when we speak with the client, we try and understand what they're looking to achieve. And then in this discovery call, we try and figure it out if that's a right goal for them or not. So always think from the client's best interest. And once we understand that this is the client's best interest, and if the client was to be in agreement to that outcome, then we work towards it together. So, and then we literally work very, very, very hard to make that happen. I mean, we have a beautiful team, very hardworking, extremely qualified, competent lawyers in our team. They are there to help reply, any emails, WhatsApp messages. Now we are using WhatsApp in business, so 24 working hours. So speed, working in the client's best interest, and make their life easy. That's our mantra. And then the secret of success. I know few law firms, they try and make it too complicated so that they can charge a lot more extra, where I try and work completely opposite. I said, why would you hire me if it was to be complicated for you? The reason you want to hire me to make your life easy, not to make it complicated. So I try and make it as simple as possible. So I do a lot of webinars, YouTube videos, and try and pass on message. Say, guys, look, it's easy. It's not complicated. So I work like completely different, opposite extreme of the law industry. Try and make client realize it doesn't need to be rocket science, you see. And this is why you hire a lawyer, to make it easy for you, not to make it complicated. So yeah, that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, awesome. And the rise of misinformation, or the kind of, it's free, what I call it's free for a reason. Why is it so important to use an immigration advisor rather than just, what Steve said on Facebook?
Absolutely. Good question. And the answer is, not everyone needs immigration lawyer, right? If you need immigration lawyer, there might be very few reasons. Number one is a peace of mind and assurance. Because when it's immigration, at times it's your life and career, right? It's your family. So there is so much at stake. And the simple example I will put forward is, if you were to get a heart surgery, and if you have three options, where one is like a very newbie heart surgeon just passed out from the university, you have option one, which is the cheapest one. And then you have someone who has like little bit of experience, not super expert. And there is someone who is like super specialist, top of the top, right? And of course, it's super expensive because it's so much in demand. Choice is yours. Choice is yours. There is no hard and fast rule. Even you can do your own heart surgery if you can, or you find out the cheapest one, the graduate one, or you find out mediocre, you find out the best of the best. So the answer to your question is no need. If you think you don't need, you don't need. The only reason people were to hire a lawyer is this assurance. Why would you go to the best of the best? Because you want result. You want assurance that my application should be successful, because it's my life and my career, it's my family involved, and this is why you hire, for that extra peace of mind and assurance. So that's number one. Number two is to save your time. There are clients out there, they are super busy. They don't have time to do the stuff on their own. So they are super busy, high net worth, I would say. They hire lawyers to save their time. And sometimes it come across very wise investment, because I'm sure, Mike, you would agree, it's difficult for you to get to the point where we have reached for 10 years of hard work by doing some simple search online. You might get it if you're lucky, but it's that professional advice based on 10 years experience and expertise and knowledge. So sometimes it come across as a wise investment, sometimes, not all the time. So that's number two reason. And number three reason, I would say, just to avoid errors. Is again, it go back to that peace of mind assurance, just to avoid errors. Sometimes you don't have a second chance. Sometimes you don't have second chance. So if you make the application yourself, you get it wrong, you become overstayer, you lose your right to work, you lose your legal status in the UK, you go through the appeal, which is more stressful. So sometimes you don't want to take that second chance. And again, it goes back to point number one, which is peace of mind assurance. So these are the reasons people hire lawyers. You necessarily not need to hire lawyers if you don't want. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. You can fake knowledge, but you can't fake experience.
It's true.
Well, not for very long anyway. Cool. So just some sort of wide roving questions. We're going to put a link to the AY&J YouTube channel, which has got loads of great videos to kind of explain the nuts and bolts of different visas, processes. I didn't really want to cover that stuff. I really wanted to kind of take the time to pick Yash's brain. Do you think it's harder or easier to get a skilled worker visa in the UK post Brexit? Big question. Just keen to know your thoughts.
Easy. Simple answer. It's easier now than it was before, for three reasons. Number one, the government has reduced the skills threshold that was required at RQF level 6 to RQF level 3 for the benefit of audience.
Oh, sorry, Yash. Sorry. High alert dog. I'm so sorry I interrupted you. So 3 reasons. Back to you, Yash.
Sure. Just to answer your question, it's more easier now to get skilled worker visa for 3 reasons. Number one is government has reduced the skill threshold, which was RQF level 6 to now RQF level 3. And for the benefit of audience who are not lawyers, understanding 6 and 3 levels, I would say now with the new post-Brexit immigration rules, one can be sponsored under, let's say, as a shopkeeper, as a store manager, as a restaurant manager, even as a personal assistant. And the reason of mentioning this position, just to give you a gist and an idea as to what sort of position now do qualify for skilled worker visa. So that's number one reason. Number two reason, there is no more RLMT, which is rest labor market test, which was required previously to prove there is no settled worker to take this position. And that was cumbersome process for the employer, kind of discouraging for the employer to even think of sponsoring someone, because it was too complicated. It was the biggest reason employers were losing licenses and being penalized from the home office. So that administrative process has gone off the list. So I would say that is the number two reason. Number three reason is now there is uncapped skilled worker visa. There used to be like cap of 20,800. There is no more cap, right? And bonus reason I would say is Brexit, right? There is a dire need of skilled staff now post Brexit. EU migration is not happening, of course. So we need people to work here. So that's a bonus point, I would say, why it's easier to get skilled worker visa in the UK.
Yeah, thanks. That's really succinct. Yeah, no more cap on the. I remember when was that? Sort of 2017. There was a big hoo-ha about restricted certificates of sponsorship and all the graduate employers. I remember going down to PwC and everyone's head was trying not to explode. So yeah, definitely. I guess that moves me on to my next question, which is, and feel free to pick a timeline here, because as you know, changes do take time. We are experiencing skill shortages in certain areas, but what do you sort of feel are the emerging opportunities or things that are on the horizon for internationals who might be watching this from abroad, thinking about coming to the UK, and just thinking, what are the trends that they can take advantage of?
The latest trend I've heard, even that's in the news as well, which is hospitality industry facing a great crisis post Brexit. There is a great shortage of hospitality staff in the UK. Has been widely covered by mainstream media these days. Number one. Number two is care industry. We are short of a lot of carers. Of course, carers do not qualify for skilled worker visas, but senior carers do qualify for skilled worker visa. I do speak with a very, very large organization these days with 1,000 plus employees, intend to recruit senior carers to look after their business. So huge opportunity. I have also seen, even at my surprise, the UK employers reaching out to overseas candidate, offering them a job role with sponsorship even in care industry. So it's a new trend. I mean, it's at my surprise. I mean, the employers previously were reluctant even to speak with someone who is overseas. Now they are not only speaking, but they are offering job and also offering sponsorship at a cost. So you can sense, I think two industry in top of my head right now is hospitality and care industry, followed by, of course, IT and finance.
Yeah, services and logistics are definitely industries which represent great potential for internationals and those wishing to come over. So, yeah, great shout there. As you well know, one of the kind of biggest problems with any kind of big change is employers, because everything changes, and then employers are just there being employers, doing business, right? And then going, oh. So, with the graduate route kind of coming out and getting rolled out June, July, do you think employers get it? Do they understand that these students can work for them for basically, without any major checks for 2 years? What's your opinion with it from the employer side?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably onus is on students to make the employer realize, look, this is the latest change, and I have been granted now 2 years of work visa, which there is no restriction. And the reason I'm using work visa is simpler terms. Always use simple terms. Don't say graduate route visa. Nobody will understand that. The HR will not understand if they never came across immigration people. Say, look, I got a right to work where I can work without any restriction for 2 more years, and here it is. And if you speak in a simpler language, the HR would be probably more influenced or inclined to even consider your CVs. And I think it's the best opportunity for students to go on to this graduate route visa, where they can develop a rapport, establish this rapport with the potential employer, and then prove themselves that they are right fit, even to be offered further opportunity under skilled worker visa. If you do your best and be very productive, then I don't see any reason. Even I myself, as an employer, I would of course give the opportunity to someone who be more productive, and a graduate route visa can do more. Why would not I offer them a skilled worker visa if they're right fit? And it's very easy transition for those students. So to answer your question, onus is on students to explain the employer. Employer will start learning if they face dire need, which they are trying and struggling these days. But I think students should take that opportunity to explain themselves. Now they can work.
Yeah, last two questions from me. The first of those is, from you deal with employers and sponsorship licenses and also processing difficult and complex cases in relation to that. What are the biggest problems you see from employers when it comes to sponsoring migrants? What are the biggest issues they seem to come up against, and anything that anyone watching this can kind of take away from that in terms of thinking, how can I make this easier for them?
Lack of awareness for the employer, and this is where you can educate the employer by probably going through the details of sponsor license, or even please without hesitation show them one of my YouTube video on sponsorship license. Is a very comprehensive information on sponsor license, probably a recorded webinar there explaining how easy it is to get a sponsor license and sponsor overseas skilled staff. So there is a lack of awareness, stigma. Say, oh, it must be too complicated. It must be rocket science. So because of this lack of awareness, employers are not inclined to even invest and even give it a go to get the license and sponsor overseas skilled staff. So that's the only reason I can think of, Mike, today, the lack of awareness. And this is what we are doing with the help of a lot of webinars and even media coverage. And I'm speaking and interviewing even in mainstream media, just spreading the awareness. It's about educating them. So it's not complicated to get the license. And this is what a student or someone who wishes to get that sponsorship can do it, to educate the employer. If the employer is open to listen. If they are not open, then of course there isn't much you can do, but educate them if you could.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, I know that the Institute of Student Employers, UKISA, universities, who are all keen to kind of push this transition from graduate to working, because it's good for completion numbers, particularly for universities, but also just removing this preconceived notion that employers know, because they don't. They're just like you and me. If someone turned around and said, "Oh, do you know about work sponsorship procedure in India?" I'd be like, "No." Like I'll have to Google that. I don't really understand. And the person who can simplify it and make it easy for me is probably the person I'm going to gravitate towards, because I've got all these other pressures on my time and attention. So yeah, that's a brilliant point. And finally, this is purely speculative. We've had loads of stuff in the media, stuff happening with HGV drivers. McDonald's have got no milkshakes. I try to stay away from topical stuff, but I think it is a long-term trend. What do you think about new visa types, the potential for the return? Not that anyone said that, but some of us will remember tier 3, temporary workers, that kind of weird sort of limbo, like able to come and go, multiple entry work visas, 12-month visas that are not tier 5, sponsorship, basically organizers acting as sponsors, but sort of acting as agencies. There's a lot of moving parts there. I mean, it's quite exciting and interesting. Any thoughts, feelings, or opinions?
Yeah, good point. Coincidentally, I had an inquiry from a Romanian labor supplier yesterday itself, and asking how they can facilitate supplying labor to the UK, to various industries, including agriculture, and of course, drivers as well, and then some labor. As of now, we don't have any solution. Speculative, yes, they might open up tier 3. I don't think, I haven't heard any government agenda or any policymakers talking about it as yet. Probably they might start talking when the economy will doom and gloom. This is how it works, right? For the noise to reach there, it takes a lot of effort, and something worse has to happen for the politician to listen to it. But anyways, I'm part of ILPA, which is Immigration Law Practitioners Association, where I do attend on a monthly basis to influence government policy. We can talk about it. We can talk into media about it. But yeah, might happen, might not happen. But as of now, it's not on government's agenda today as we speak, late August 2021, Mike.
Yeah, be interesting to see if MAC picks it up, which is the Migration Advisory Committee. I remember in 2017, basically PwC just did a rally, got all their clients together, and they just made a big bloody fuss. And then I don't think it got resolved. I think it just kind of got like, they just went zoop, like that. They just pushed it over, and then. But yeah, we'll see. Well, look, Yash, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real wham bam, thank you, ma'am. But I think we got a lot of questions answered that I know that people are wondering about, and we're going to have a link down in the description below, so you can get in contact with Yash and his team. All I'd say is just don't Don't be looking for freebies. Obviously, if you've got a genuine business inquiry, but I think sending some sort of like, can you help me get a visa question mark smiley face is probably not very useful for you or for Yash and his team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.